She walks right in my dreams since I met her from the start. I'm so proud I am the only one who is special in her heart. The girl is mine. The doggone girl is mine. I know she's mine. Because the doggone girl is mine.
I don't understand the way you think, saying that she's yours, not mine. Sending roses and your silly dreams, really just a waste of time, because she's mine. The doggone girl is mine. Don't waste your time, because the doggone girl is mine. I love you more than he.
Take you anywhere. Well, I love you endlessly. Love it we will share. So come and go with me to one town. But we both cannot have, so it's one or the other. And one day you'll discover that she's my girl forever and ever.
Fill your hopes to be let down, 'cause I really feel it's time.
More quiet here, driving on the autobahn. It's smooth, no traffic, nothing. Yeah, in a few minutes we will cross over the German-Czech border. And yeah, we don't have to show the passports, we don't have a time change. It is also allowed to take photos, but I can promise you, you will quite see nothing. Tell you something more about this. Upcoming on the right hand side you see the traffic rules in Germany. I will tell you also something more about this later. And when we cross over here the bridge, you just see a small sign with a black eagle. This stands for Germany. The next sign is for the federal state of Bavaria. And upcoming on the right hand side, the official European sign with the 12 yellow stars, Bundesrepublik Deutschland. And here we are in Deutschland. Welcome to Germany, willkommen in Deutschland. Yeah, you can see it, this is very easy to cross over. And yeah, we have some differences. First of all, this is a language. Czech language, and
The capital is here, this is Berlin. And we started here in the eastern part, here in the Czech Republic, here's Prague. And this is the way we are traveling now to Nuremberg here.
Oh, okay.
So here's the federal state of Bavaria. Shall I come a little bit closer?
No, that's okay.
It's okay?
That's good.
Yeah.
Thank you.
In Nuremberg, we take the artificial connection.
I love you more than he.
Take you anywhere. Well, I love you endlessly. Love it we will share. So come and go with me to one town. But we both cannot have, so it's one or the other. And one day you'll discover that she's my girl forever and ever.
Fill your hopes to be let down, 'cause I really feel it's time.
I know she'll tell you I'm the one for her, 'cause she said I blow her mind. The girl is mine.
The doggone girl is mine.
Don't waste your time,
Because the doggone girl is mine. She's mine.
she's mine.
No, 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 she's mine.
The girl is mine.
Girl is mine.
The girl is mine.
Girl is mine. Girl is mine.
Mine, mine.
Yep, she's mine.
Mine, mine.
The girl is mine.
Mine, mine.
Yes, Michael. We're not gonna fight about this, okay?
Paul, I think I told you. I'm a lover, not a fighter.
Yay, here comes Jan.
Because I wanted to create a work-life balance. So I work 10 miles, 4 days a week.
To everyone, and that is what I would like to try with you this morning, of course, also. So in all the different aspects of Nuremberg's history, and sometimes also a bit beyond that even. Well, the tour setup I will explain in a moment, but this tour is in its first half approximately a bus ride, and we have to start here at the edge of the city, southwestern corner of Nuremberg, where the canal goes through. We didn't construct it right through the city center, of course. In the end, a bit of a bus ride first of all. That means the most important man is not me here on this bus, but the guy here next to me, that is Michael, our driver. So please say good morning to Michael.
Good morning, Michael.
Good morning. Hello. You're welcome.
So, yeah, got declared the city of the party rallies. So it's a propaganda place. Of course, that means we're also touching the Nazi period a bit, especially since just in Europe generally. They shift around about 4,000 freight train wagons there each day and can handle up. And even the first railway on the European continent. Until then, only England had railway. The first German railway started its journey then at Nuremberg in 1835, and that made the city then prosperous again. Engineering companies were founded to make train parts, engineering companies are still an important factor in town. The biggest employer today is the Siemens company, after all. On the left-hand side, that factory with a decorative facade belongs to the Siemens Transformer Works. So the power plant branch is important here, but also in the region very important is we lock in the last customers in the evening. So it goes out cleaning up the place. Helps cutting costs, and cheap prices is what we provide, and this is the German mindset about this. The price should be cheap, the service is not so important. So Hitler's terror organization, basically, the organization in charge of running the concentration camps, had these large, and back then also quite modern barracks at the edge of the rally grounds in southeastern Nuremberg. And these barracks were so modern, and by coincidence left intact during the Second World War, that the Allies afterwards decided to take them over. So between 1945 and 1992, those were then American barracks, carried the name Merrill Barracks. So Nuremberg was always part of the American zone in occupied Germany after the war. So in the end, but now we have entered these forms were taking place outside, because a bit like today, late summer warm but not too hot and not much chance of rain. So this is why we picked the beginning of September. But even in its unfinished state, it is the largest still existing representation building of the Nazi regime, and it resembles so certainly the most famous part of the former rally grounds, that is now up there in front of us, but we're getting a better way now, and also turning left. So now when you're looking to the right hand side, it's slightly to the front. That is the remains of a Zeppelin grandstand, and as a comparison, I got a picture here, just pass me. Just forgetting it and then at some point repeating it. So we try to make that different today. Still difficult, I can tell you, but that is the important thing to do. At an original medieval city center. And so the Nazis said this is the most German of all German cities, where all Germans have to come to see the glory, or better imagined glory, of the old empire at the city center, and then see the glory of the new empire at the rally grounds. So they try to make these historical ties to get legitimation, and since of course the eastern parts. Well, so Nuremberg with ties almost everywhere, and yeah, we're now approaching the old city center, but also around here a lot of construction sites. So a hotel is a good business here at the moment, and well, especially at the main train station. And the main train station is that building on the left now, with the green cupola. So neoliberal building with some Art Nouveau elements. It was constructed. It was inaugurated in 1906, and well. It wasn't damaged in the Second World War, of course, but reconstructed to the original appearance. And today, it's after a recent inside refurbishment. Also at the right is the city center, and which is also Nuremberg's old city. So both mean here the same. And sometimes say 5 kilometers or 3.1 miles. Since 1905, so about the same time as train station and still opera house in theater today, of course, right outside of the old city. And on the right now getting a few rehearsal rooms for rock bands. Good idea, because there are no neighbors. You can play as loud and as wrong as you want, no one would get disturbed, so nice place for a rehearsal room also. Well, along the city moat goes also a lower wall, about 1 meter, 3 feet above street level. Most of that is not medieval, because attackers could have taken cover where, would have had no use. It was set up in the 19th century to make sure that drunken people don't fall down into the moat and they're walking along. Doesn't work, though. The drunk try to balance on them sometimes and still fall down. But nothing too bad happens usually. Well, here on the right is one of the round towers also. There are in total 4 bigger round towers, which also were once rectangular, but got the round walls in the 16th century to better withstand cannon fire when that had become northwest, that is. Fürth in Nuremberg, but his hometown, that is Fürth, where he was born, where he grew up. Only in 1937, the Kissinger family left 1945 as a GI and worked as a translator for the US Army. Thing is, of course, that his family in 1937 left Germany. We could also say they fled Germany. Also, of course, that is a Jewish family that tried to get away from the pressure of the Nazi regime at that time and made it out early enough before the Holocaust really started. So the Kissinger is also an example for people leaving Germany in the Nazi period to just get away from all the threat and violence. And of course the atrocities of the Nazi regime were then brought to court after the Second World War. Ostenhof, where you still can find also some more Art Nouveau facades, by the way. Here a little bit less war damage had happened. Now, the courthouse itself was also almost undamaged in the war, and that is one of the reasons why we picked Nuremberg, and it's now here on the right-hand side. Behind that blue pit stop garage, forget that, is the east wing of the courthouse, and then the 3rd floor, there are some larger windows just down that lane, and that is where the courtroom 600 is located at, so where the trial itself took place. But the whole huge sandstone complex side is the Palace of Justice at Nuremberg, the courthouse of Nuremberg since 1916 until today, and that is when these first international war criminals trials in the history of mankind took place. Got a few pictures for you again about this. One showing the defendant's dock of the main trial, one the courthouse and the old prison in 1945. And 2 more are views into the courtroom itself with the trial in session. And now, of course, Nuremberg was again picked for a reason. First of all, the reason that the trial should be at Nuremberg was not so much that Nuremberg had a propaganda role to the Nazi regime. Of course, it seems fitting, but if at all, it was only a minor reason. But more important was that Nuremberg was located in the American occupation zone. President, and many other names of importance, 21 in total. A 22nd was tried in absentia. Also, that was Martin Bormann, Hitler's Chancellery Secretary. Bormann was also already dead at that point, but his remains were only found in the 70s, so it was assumed he's alive, and so we tried him in absentia. So we have 22 verdicts, but 21 defendants were actually present. Well, the trial itself in absentia in Göring managed to commit suicide just before we could take him to the gallows, but he was also dead, of course, and the bodies were then cremated and the ashes thrown into a river south of Munich, but they don't get a grave which might turn into a pilgrimage for neo-Nazis, which was a smart move at that point, certainly. Well, at the end of the prison wall, there's this beige building on the right-hand side. That has nothing to do with the prison, but some wall. That's a Jewish cemetery of the 19th century that was closed already before the First World War. It was too small at that time. The Nazis didn't destroy it. That will be replaced by a new fire station in a few years. Were turning at the banks of the Pegnitz, most of them not for grinding grain, but for driving hammers, in which they made metal plates, and those were then the basic materials for Nuremberg smiths in the medieval time, and we made the products which were then distributed all across the known world of the 15th and 16th century. Now, graves were on the right-hand side at the cemetery of St. John's, the most beautiful medieval cemetery in Germany. Especially just now comes the historical part on the right. That is this part here famous for its more than 6,000 horizontal sandstone gravestones, all of the same size and shape. And really, some people say on the first look it's more like a park, and not a graveyard. But that makes it so beautiful, really. Well, this kind of gravestone is not so typical for medieval Germany, but so to speak, in Nuremberg's Walk of Fame. Well, the living quarter of St. John's around us here, that was only constructed in the 19th century mainly. There are just a few older buildings which were garden houses in the Middle Ages, but there was supposed to be free space between the city walls and the cemetery, because of course in just a few minutes. Well, now back at the walls, another of the big round main towers on the right, and our path is now leading us up the castle hill. The background for this is that the medieval German Empire, so the Holy Roman Empire of the German nations, they didn't have a capital, but it had an itinerant monarchy. The reason Taker's Castle coming up, the two big rectangular towers, and in between a bigger building where the caretakers lived at, who always were around to keep up the castle, but where the bastion walls begin, that's the imperial part, that's where the emperors used to stay.
We're storming the castle.
Not slowing down, I mean falling down. Just and of course with the walls around here. Protestant Swedish King Gustavus Adolphus, 2 rings of defense around Nuremberg. 100,000 Roman Catholic soldiers and around 40,000 Protestants, mainly being in the city.
She walks right in my dreams since I met her from the start. I'm so proud I am the only one who is special in her heart. The girl is mine. The doggone girl is mine. I know she's mine because the doggone girl is mine. I don't understand the way you
of time because she's mine. The doggone girl is mine. Don't waste your time because the doggone girl is mine. Cause I really feel it's time.
I know she'll tell you I'm the one for her, cause she said I blow her mind. The girl is mine.
The doggone girl is mine.
Don't waste your time
because the doggone girl is mine. She's mine.
She's mine.
No, 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 she's mine.
The girl is mine.
Girl is mine.
The girl is mine.
Girl is mine. Girl is mine.
Mine, mine.
Yep, she's mine.
Mine, mine.
The girl is mine.
Mine, mine.
Yes, she's mine.
Mine, mine. Don't waste your time
Because the doggone girl is mine.
That spot was the house of his parents, which they bought in 1475. Then really had a bit of an ego, and he said, well, I'm not just a craftsman this time, painted alone in high detail around 1500, but he just wanted to. And so I did that. The original is in Vienna, in the Albertine. Also even the biggest example for Nuremberg's artisans and crafters around 1500.
sull'oceano, piove sulla mia identità. Lampi sull'oceano, squarci di luminosità. Forse qua in America i venti del Pacifico scoprono le sue immensità. Le mie mani stringono sogni lontanissimi e il mio pensiero corre da te. Tremo, sento profondi e oscuri.
Man, look at that.
That's a heck of a ship.
No kidding. So, how many tons of coal is in there? One shovel at a time. One shovel.
Another car.
Look at the guy's got his garden up in a coffee
I
shop.
know.
Yeah, look at that.
How cute.
He's got his car.
I think we've been
This was our
invaded.
view, right? What a great view we had.
It's been.
It's so close.
It's just such a glare.
I'm going to take my tea to the room, hopefully. I want to take a nap.
You do.
I feel... Yeah, I'm not sure.
Raising up our Yeah, because it's lower down here and it's higher up here.
Yeah.
Always go walking it right